Good evening and welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. Before we go over to the headlines, Rajya Sabha TV appeals to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash hands and face regularly, and maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. And now, let's get you the top stories of the day. Elaborate security for Bharat Bandh called by farmers tomorrow. Centre tells states to ensure COVID-19 guidelines are strictly followed. Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad slams opposition for misleading farmers. Prime Minister Modi launches construction work of Agra Metro project, asserts small cities will be the axis of a self-reliant India. India has the potential to become #1 in fisheries, says Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, emphasizes diversification in mariculture through innovative products. Senior Bihar BJP leader Sushil Kumar Modi, elected unopposed to Rajya Sabha, holds rare distinction of being a member of both houses of parliament and Bihar legislature. And active COVID-19 cases dropped to less than 4 lakh, over 39,000 patients cured in the last 24 hours. Recovery rate now stands at 94.45%. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday inaugurated the construction of Phase 1 of the Agra Metro project via video conferencing. Speaking on the occasion, he said, the government's focus is on making small cities the axis of self-reliant India, and the metro project in Agra reflects this very intention. More details in this report. Inaugurating the construction work for the first phase of Agra Metro project, Prime Minister Narendra Modi underlined the economic importance of metro services. He said the government's focus is on making small cities the axis of self-reliant India, and the metro project in Agra reflects this intention. The Prime Minister said that till the year 2014, only 225 kilometers of metro line was in operation in the country. But within the last 6 years, metro is now running on more than 400 kilometers line in the country.
अब 8,000 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक का ये मेट्रो प्रोजेक्ट आगरा में स्मार्ट सुविधाओं के निर्माण से जुड़े मिशन को और मजबूत करेगा। साथियों, बीते 6 सालों में यूपी के साथ ही पूरे देश में जिस स्पीड और स्केल पर मेट्रो नेटवर्क पर काम हुआ, वही सरकार की पहचान और प्रतिबद्धता दोनों को दर्शाता है। 2014 तक देश में लगभग 225 किलोमीटर मेट्रो लाइन ऑपरेशनल हुई थी। साल 2014 के बाद के 6 वर्षों में देश में 450 किलोमीटर से ज्यादा मेट्रो लाइन देश भर में ऑपरेशनल है और लगभग 1000 किलोमीटर मेट्रो लाइन पर तेज गति से काम भी चल रहा है। The Prime Minister informed that more than 100 lakh crore rupees will be spent under the National Infrastructure Pipeline project. He added that work is being done on the multi-modal connectivity infrastructure master plan. He also said that efforts are on to attract investment from all over the world to improve the country's infrastructure. कनेक्टिविटी और आधुनिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर जितना
आज देश में खर्च किया जा रहा है उतना पहले कभी नहीं किया गया। अब नेशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पाइपलाइन प्रोजेक्ट के तहत 100 लाख करोड़ रुपए से अधिक खर्च करने की भी तैयारी है। मल्टी मॉडल कनेक्टिविटी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मास्टर प्लान, उस पर भी काम किया जा रहा है। कोशिश ये है कि देश के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को बेहतर बनाने के लिए पूरी दुनिया से निवेश को आकर्षित किया जाए। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और रियल एस्टेट प्रोजेक्ट्स में इन्वेस्ट में विदेशी निवेश को आसान बनाने के लिए भी हर जरूरी कदम उठाए जा रहे हैं।
Terming tourism as a sector in which there are means of earning for everyone, the Prime Minister said efforts are being made to attract tourists through schemes like Swadesh Darshan and Prasad. He hoped that the charm of the tourism sector will return soon.
मेरा ये हमेशा से मत रहा है कि टूरिज्म एक ऐसा सेक्टर है जिसमें हर किसी के लिए कमाई के साधन है। कम से कम निवेश में अधिक से अधिक आमदनी टूरिज्म के माध्यम से संभव है। सरकार ने न सिर्फ ई वीजा स्कीम में शामिल देशों की संख्या में काफी वृद्धि की है, इसके साथ ही होटल रूम टैरिफ पर टैक्स को भी काफी कम किया है। स्वदेश दर्शन और प्रसाद जैसी योजनाओं के माध्यम से भी टूरिस्टों को आकर्षित करने के प्रयास किए जा रहे हैं। सरकार के प्रयासों से भारत अब ट्रैवल और टूरिज्म कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस इंडेक्स में 34वें नंबर पर आ गया है, जबकि 2013 में भारत इसी इंडेक्स में 65वें नंबर पर रुका पड़ा था। आज वहां से इतनी प्रगति हुई है।
The Agra Metro project comprises 2 corridors with a total length of 29.4 kilometers and will connect major tourist attractions like Taj Mahal and Agra Fort with railway stations and bus stands. The project will also benefit Agra's population of 26 lakh and cater to more than 60 lakh tourists who visit the historic city every year. The estimated cost of the construction of the project is 8,379.62 crore rupees and it will be completed in about 5 years. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the inaugural address at the virtual India Mobile Congress 2020 on Tuesday. IMC 2020 is being organized by the Department of Telecommunications and the Cellular Operators Association of India. The event will be held from 8th to 10th of December. The theme for IMC 2020 is Inclusive Innovation, Smart, Secure, Sustainable. It aims to align to the Prime Minister's vision to promote Atmanirbhar Bharat, digital inclusivity and sustainable development, entrepreneurship and innovation. The centre has asked all states and union territories to tighten security during Tuesday's Bharat Bandh called by the farmers' unions. In a countrywide advisory, the Home Ministry has said the states and union territories must ensure that the COVID-19 guidelines issued with regard to health and social distancing are strictly followed. The states and union territories were told that peace and tranquility must be maintained during the Bharat Bandh and precautionary measures taken so that no untoward incident takes place anywhere in the country. The Bharat Bandh has been called by the farmers' unions who have been protesting against the 3 farm laws enacted during the monsoon session of Parliament. Major political parties such as the Congress, NCP, DMK, the Samajwadi Party, TRS and also the left parties have extended their support to the nationwide Bandh. Thousands of farmers have been protesting at various border points of Delhi against the new reform laws. The government has held 5 rounds of discussions with the farmers' leaders. The centre has also called another meeting with the farmers' unions on the 9th of December.
Meanwhile, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad has targeted the opposition parties for their stand on the new farm laws. Addressing media, the minister said Congress and other opposition parties themselves had initiated similar reforms in the farm sector, but are now merely opposing the Modi government for the sake of opposing.
आदरणीय शरद पवार जी, आप तो बड़े अनुभवी नेता हैं, कई बार मुख्यमंत्री रहे हैं, कई बार मंत्री रहे हैं केंद्र में। आपके दोनों पत्र मैंने पढ़ दिए, आपका इंटरव्यू पढ़ दिया। रिफॉर्म के आप तो नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार से भी अधिक दावा करते रहे हैं और आज आप भी खड़े हो गए। तो इसे अगर शुद्ध राजनीतिक स्वार्थ की राजनीति अपना अस्तित्व बचाने के लिए कहा जाए तो अनुचित होगा क्या?
Targeting the Congress party, Ravi Shankar Prasad said the party had clearly mentioned about amending the farm laws in their 2019 election manifesto. Ravi Shankar Prasad added that misinformation is being spread among the farmers that Narendra Modi government will eliminate farmers by making contracts with large corporates.
ये जितने विपक्षी पार्टियां हैं, ये किसानों को भ्रमित कर रही हैं। इनका पूरा चेहरा शर्मनाक दोहरे चरित्र का है। Their entire approach is of shameful double standards. They are seeking to confuse based upon wrong facts. और दूसरी बात, जो काम आपने करने की कोशिश की, जो आपने पूरा नहीं किया, जिसको आप सही मानते थे, आज व्यापक चर्चा के बाद हम उसको आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं तो आप विरोध कर रहे हैं।
A delegation of 20 farmers from Haryana who are in support of the new farm laws met Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar on Monday to extend their support to the new legislations. The group demanded the government to amend some provisions but not to repeal the acts. The delegation members said they were individual farmers and representatives of farmer-producer organizations. The Confederation of All India Traders and All India Transport Welfare Association said on Monday that their members will not participate in the 8 December Bharat Bandh. Both associations said in a joint statement that their members in commercial markets across the country will open their premises and conduct business as usual and also run normal transport services on Tuesday.
हमारी पूर्ण सहानुभूति किसानों के साथ है। मैं सरकार से अनुरोध करना चाहूंगा कि वो पूर्ण सहानुभूति के साथ किसानों से बातचीत करे और इस मसले को जल्द से जल्द सुलझाए। इस कोरोना काल के अंदर में सप्लाई चेन को बाधित करने का या जरूरी जो सामान है उसकी आपूर्ति को रोकने का कोई औचित्य नहीं है। अतः हम लोग किसानों के साथ पूर्ण सहानुभूति रखते हुए, उनको मोरल सपोर्ट देते हुए पर इस बंद में शामिल नहीं है।
हमारा ये निश्चित मत है कि ऐसे समय में जब सरकार के साथ किसानों की बातचीत के दौर चल रहे हैं, इन बातचीत के दौरों के सिलसिले में किसी भी प्रकार के बंद का कोई औचित्य नहीं है। दूसरी ओर किसी भी किसान संगठन ने या किसान नेता ने हमारा समर्थन मांगा भी नहीं है। हमारा यह निश्चित मत है कि किसान देश में घाटे की खेती कर रहा है और उसकी घाटे की खेती को प्रॉफिटेबल खेती कैसे बनाना है, इसके ऊपर हम सबको चर्चा करनी चाहिए और सरकार को ऐसे सभी कदम उठाने चाहिए जिससे कि किसान घाटे की खेती की जगह प्रॉफिट की खेती कर सके।
Farmers in several states have welcomed the central government's decision to bring about reforms in agriculture marketing laws. Listening.
जो बिल सरकार दिए हैं ना, इससे किसान भाइयों को बहुत फायदा है, हम लोग को भी फायदा है और ये व्यापारी के द्वारा नहीं हो पाता है। हम लोग अपने कहीं पर भी जाके बेच सकते हैं। ये बहुत फायदा है हम किसान भाइयों को।
तो किसानों को फायदा है, बीच का जो मीडिएटर रहेगा, बिचौलिया जो दलाल रहता है वो लोग हट जाएगा।
एक तो किसान पहले ही दबा हुआ रहता था और ऊपर से और ज्यादा दबाव, रेट कम करके अपना मनमानी सही ढंग से पूरा पेमेंट भी नहीं देते थे। अब ये बिल का आने से किसान आजादी महसूस कर रहे हैं। हम किसान को बहुत फायदा हुआ है, फ्रीडम महसूस कर रहे हैं। हम आज ऑल ओवर इंडिया में कोई भी मंडी में बेच सकते हैं।
कृषि बिल के बारे पास कर दिया है और हम भी उन्हीं को समर्थन करना चाहती हूँ, इसलिए कि जो व्यापारी लोग हैं वो घर घर आता है 10 रुपया 11 रुपया किलो करके धान ले जाता है, इसलिए हम नहीं दी हूँ। और उसके बाद हम वो लोग जाके फार्म उर्म भर दी हूँ और वहाँ पर हमको 20 रुपये 50 पैसा करके क्विंटल में धान मिलेगा और उसका बोनस भी 1 रुपया 82 पैसा करके मिलेगा।
किसान कहाँ भी वो अपना माल बेच सकते हैं, ये पहला नहीं था। इसके पीछे एक बहुत बड़ा माफिया है, वो बहुत लोग दलाल जो भी है या एजेंट हो या पॉलिटिकल ये रहेगा, वो सब मिलके किसानों को भड़का रहे हैं।
And my colleague Kriti Mishra is joining us for more details on that story. Good evening, Kriti. So ahead of Bharat Bandh tomorrow, the centre has issued an advisory to the states asking them to ensure peace and tranquility. What are the main points in the centre's advisory that the states and union territories have been asked to adhere to? If you can highlight that for our viewers.
Well, Tina, the centre has issued a very specific advisory to all the state governments and also to the UT administrations. It has said that during the protest or during the Bandh, all the protesters must adhere to the COVID-19 guidelines, ensuring that there is physical distancing and also wearing of masks must be made non-negotiable. It has also said that the authorities must take all the precautionary measures to ensure that there is no untoward incident during the Bandh. Basically, the focus of the centre is to ensure peace and tranquility at all times in all situations. Tina?
Another thing that I want to understand, Kriti, is that, despite the government's repeated assurance to discuss and also consider several concerns which the farmers have been raising, why are they still insisting on a nationwide bandh, which will, of course, cause inconvenience to other citizens?
Well, since now the opposition parties have supported this call for bandh, the government, in fact, slammed the opposition parties today, and it has said that this is only for political existence, and also the government slammed them for the double-speak over the farm laws. Remember, the government has already allayed the concerns of the farmers, saying that the MSP would be intact. It has also assuaged all the concerns, dispelled all the concerns. We've already seen 5 rounds of meetings between the centre and the farmers, and the next round of meeting is expected on December 9th, and till then, we hope that this stalemate is actually resolved. Over to you, Tina.
Indeed, we're all hopeful that a resolution to this deadlock will come on the 9th of December when both sides meet once again. Moving on, former Bihar Deputy Chief Minister and senior BJP leader Sushil Kumar Modi was elected unopposed to the Rajya Sabha on Monday. Sushil Modi was declared elected unopposed on the last date for withdrawal of nomination papers. In addition to Sushil Kumar Modi, a lone independent candidate, Shyam Nandan Prasad, had filed his nomination papers, which were rejected during scrutiny. Sushil Kumar Modi was handed over his certificate in the presence of a host of dignitaries, including Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, his successors as Deputy Chief Ministers Tarkishore Prasad and also Renu Devi. The bypoll was necessitated following the death of Lok Jan Shakti Party founder and Union Minister Ram Vilas Paswan. The Standing Committee of Parliament on Education, Women, Children, Youth and Sports met on Monday. The meeting focused on the preparation for Olympics 2021. The committee is headed by Rajya Sabha MP Dr. Vinay Sahasrabuddhe. The committee sought clarifications from the Secretary, Department of Sports and DG SAI on a number of issues. Rajya Sabha Secretary General Desh Deepak Verma was also present during the meeting. He also shared his experiences gathered while working as DG SAI in one of his earlier assignments. The centre is sending a 3-member team of medical experts to Eluru in Andhra Pradesh in the wake of an undiagnosed disease that has affected more than 300 children. Those affected reportedly suffered from dizziness, fainting spells, headache and vomiting. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Monday spoke to Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan in this regard and asked him to provide all necessary help in diagnosing and providing treatment to the affected children. The Health Minister assured him of all possible help, saying that necessary steps would be taken to find out the cause of the illness once the lab reports are received. The Vice President, besides, was also informed that a poison control team from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences had on Sunday discussed this matter with the doctors at Eluru. Polling for the fourth phase of District Development Council elections in Jammu and Kashmir concluded on Monday. 50.08% voter turnout was recorded in this phase. Polling took place in 34 DDC constituencies, which includes 17 seats in the Kashmir Valley and 17 in the Jammu division. The first and third phases of the 8-phase electoral process also recorded over 50% polling, while the second phase saw a turnout of 48.62%.
वोटिंग परसेंटेज ओवरऑल रही है आज के फेज की 50.08। डिस्ट्रिक्ट डेवलपमेंट काउंसिल का आज फोर्थ फेज समाप्त होने के साथ हमारे आदि पोलिंग का जो ये है जनरल इलेक्शन का वो खत्म हुआ। सब मिला के 8 फेज हैं और जैसा आपको मालूम है आज से 3 दिन के बाद फेज 5 की इलेक्शन होगी। इसके बाद फेज 8 की 19 दिसंबर को होगी और काउंटिंग जो है वो 22 दिसंबर को होगी।
In Assam, polling for the 40-member Bodo Territorial Council elections in 21 constituencies spread across Udalguri and Buxar districts were held on Monday. In the first phase, over 68% votes were cast out of a total of 13,64,018 electors. COVID-19 protocols like wearing masks, maintaining social distancing inside the booth and frequent sanitization were largely followed. A total of 130 candidates from Bodoland People's Front, BJP, UPPL, AIUDF and one independent are in the fray. The second phase of polling for 19 constituencies will take place on the 10th of December. Counting of votes for both the phases will take place on 12th December. The BTC election was scheduled on the 4th of April but was postponed indefinitely due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And let's now take a look at the COVID-19 situation in different states of the country. Active coronavirus cases overall in the country dropped below the 4 lakh mark as recoveries surpassed new cases in the last 24 hours. India reported 32,981 new cases of COVID-19 on Monday morning. 391 deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours. India also registered 39,109 new recoveries in the same period. The active caseload fell below 4 lakh after 140 days. There are 3,96,000 active cases in the country at present, comprising about 4.1% of the total caseload. The total recovered cases in the country now stand at 91,39,000, pushing the national recovery rate to well over 94.45%. While the total cases now stand at 96,77,000, which includes 1,40,570 deaths. The total tests in the country have crossed 14.77 crore. Over 8 lakh tests were conducted in the last 24 hours. Kerala reported the highest daily new cases at 4,777, followed by Maharashtra with 4,757 new cases, while West Bengal saw 3,143 new cases of coronavirus. With 69 new deaths, national capital Delhi saw the maximum casualties. West Bengal and Maharashtra followed with 46 and 40 daily deaths, respectively. Vaccine major Serum Institute of India said on Monday it has applied to the Drugs Controller General of India for emergency use authorization for AstraZeneca Oxford COVID-19 vaccine in the country. Pune-based Serum Institute of India has collaborated with AstraZeneca and Oxford University for manufacturing the vaccine and is conducting phase 3 clinical trials of the Covishield vaccine in India. According to the ICMR, the Serum Institute has already manufactured 40 million doses of the vaccine under the at-risk manufacturing and stockpiling license which it obtained from the DCGI. Earlier on Saturday, the Indian arm of US pharmaceutical giant Pfizer became the first company to seek a similar approval from India's drug regulator for Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine against COVID-19 in the country after securing such clearance in the UK and Bahrain. Currently, India has 5 vaccines in advanced phases of clinical trials, including indigenously developed vaccine candidate Covaxin, being developed by Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech in collaboration with ICMR. An Armed Forces Flag Day was celebrated across the country on Monday. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu urged people to voluntarily contribute towards the Armed Forces Flag Day Fund to show gratitude towards the martyred and disabled soldiers and their families. Naidu said, "Our soldiers are the guardians of the nation and make many sacrifices to protect the citizens." Extending his greetings on the occasion of Armed Forces Flag Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the day marks a special occasion to express gratitude to our armed forces and their families. He said, India is proud of their heroic service and selfless dedication. The Prime Minister also urged everyone to contribute towards the welfare of our forces. Since 1949, 7th of December is observed as the Armed Forces Flag Day across the country to honor martyrs and the men in uniform who valiantly fought and continue to fight on the borders. Citizens can contribute generously to the cause of supporting the valiant men in uniform defending our borders by visiting the website ksb.gov.in. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu visited the Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute and the Central Institute of Fisheries Technology in Visakhapatnam on Monday. Addressing the scientists and staff at both the institutes, the Vice President opined that COVID-19 pandemic might prove to be a game changer for India's fisheries sector as it has made people conscious of adopting healthy dietary habits. Noting that India ranks second in the world in total fish production, he said that there is still a lot of potential to be harnessed in both inland and marine fisheries. India is the 4th largest exporter of fish in the world, and the sector has been one of the major contributors of foreign exchange earnings. The Vice President added that India should aspire to become number 1 in the export of fish. In fact, the Vice President also visited the museums of CMFRI and CIFT and complimented both institutions for their excellent work in the fisheries sector. So that's it from us in this bulletin. But before we leave, Rajya Sabha TV once again appeals to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash hands and face regularly, and maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. Good night, and thank you very much for your time.